Nick, let me start with you here. Are you worried about this team needing overtime to beat the Chargers?
Oh, no, I'm not worried about them. Listen, I give the credit, immense credit to the Chargers. They had a brilliant defensive game plan. Forget anything the Chargers did on offense at first. They gave this Chiefs offense as much trouble as any team has ever given it since Mahomes has taken over. This is the second fewest points the Chiefs have scored with Mahomes as the starter. The only time they scored less was in a game where Tyreek Hill didn't play and Mahomes was injured throughout against the Colts last year. So great job by the Chargers defensive front, and it took 3 special Mahomes plays just to escape and 2 58-yard kicks. The 55-yard or 45-yard pass to Tyreek Hill was unbelievable. The 2-point conversion play was, I feel like, underrated in how tough it was. And on 3rd and 20, Mahomes ran for 21 to set up the field goal at the end of regulation. So you needed 3 special plays by the best player in the entire league. So, Brandon, I know you thought the Chargers could win this game. I didn't think that. I did think the Chiefs would roll. They obviously didn't roll. But it doesn't make me worried about them. If anything, it feels like another instance of the Chiefs overcoming a big deficit and coming out on top thanks to the brilliance of Mahomes late.
Yeah, I mean, every week we get an opportunity to pick an upset alert, right? An upset team. Yep. And this week I chose the Chargers over the Chiefs for this reason. That defense, and you alluded to it earlier. But you really got to start with 2 guys. You got to start with Bosa and you got to start with Ingram. I just thought that, this team was more than capable of really moving Mahomes off of his several spots. They were always going to have somebody in his face. So I thought they did a tremendous job. However, when you look at the second half, they just look gassed. That's what they look like. And I felt like if they were in a little bit better condition, this game would have definitely went the other way. When you look at, the Chiefs and how they're set up for this year, I think they'll continue to roll. I think they'll beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But when you go against a team with a good defense, whether, they meet a team in the playoffs,
next week.
The Ravens, you got the Ravens, you got the Ravens, and when you got a team that can play defense and really move Mahomes and also challenge Andy Reid, because Andy Reid, which we don't talk a lot about, but we do talk a lot about Andy Reid, but not in this way. It's not only how creative he is, but how he dials up those plays that he creates in the lab at the right time. And when you look at that game plan and what LA was able to do with the screens and the misdirection plays, they did a phenomenal job of just really moving this Chiefs teams off their spots, and that's why you saw them really struggle really bad.
Well, if you're going to struggle against a team, and the reason why I'm not worried about the Chiefs is they play the Chargers twice a year, every year. And Andy's been there for, the last 6 or 7 years in Kansas City. Yeah. So the Chargers, they know how to play the Chiefs. The Chargers went down to Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs last year, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a ton of film on Patrick. They know how to play him, and the Chargers have a great defense, which makes for a tougher game. You need games like this, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, because you find out a lot about yourself and what you need to work on and things that you thought you did well. We might have to correct, or we might have to do them that much better the next time you play the Chargers. But anytime you play a team twice a year, especially in the same division, it's going to be very competitive. And I remember games against the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys, divisional teams, when I was with the Philadelphia Eagles, some of the hardest games that you'll ever have to play in. And then you go out against another team that's, in the AFC and you steamroll them. So, I expected the Chargers to play tough. I didn't think it was going to be easy, especially being on the road for the Chiefs. But for them to pull out the win, it has to give the team a great deal of confidence.
Wild.
Guys, why is Anthony Lynn punting the ball to Patrick Mahomes? I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't catch the ball.
It's a bad play.
You might as well have run it back.
It's a bad play.
Why did he punt the ball in overtime? And I know the defense was playing great. And I know if you, the defensive stalwarts in the media, you got to trust your defense. Do you, though? that not only do you have Patrick Mahomes, you've got a kicker who looks otherworldly, whose Twitter handle is butt kicker. Like, he's hitting 58-yard bombs. He hit one earlier in the day. Then even when they get the penalty and it moves back and Andy Reid is still confident, like, yeah, dude, hit it again. It's all good. So as soon as I saw them kicking the ball to the Chiefs in overtime, I'm like, guys, are you trying to lose this game? And Nick, I'm sure it made you happy when you saw the kicking unit come out, which is just proof that they shouldn't have done it.
I was thrilled. Yeah, of course. No, listen, the last thing I wanted them to do was to try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. So I was thrilled when they punted there. In Anthony Lynn's defense, I think 28 of the 32 coaches in the league punt in that spot. Inside your own 40, early in overtime, I think most coaches punt. I just think all of them would be wrong, particularly against the Chiefs. But, Mike, there's a few points here that I don't want to be missed. One is, this is now the 6th straight time the Chiefs have won a game that they trailed by double digits. The last time they lost a game that they trailed by double digits was the AFC Championship game against New England. And even in that game, they got it to overtime, and a coin flip is what they never touched the ball, or else it might have been 7 straight. But the other one is this, and I do feel like the kicker is massive. The 2 best teams in the AFC have the 2 best kickers in football, in Butker and Tucker. And that's why this game was so important. There's only 1 bye this year. So if the Chiefs had lost this game, it's like, okay, they'll probably still be fine. But trying to get that number 1 overall seed every single game matters. So they did escape with 1. They did kind of steal 1. And I'm curious to you, Mike, when you've been on the best teams that you've been on, how much confidence or lack of confidence is determined by how much faith you have in your kicker's ability to make those key kicks late in games.
It's nothing like having a good kicker. You know, you cross that 50-yard line and that end zone looks closer and closer and closer, and sometimes you can't reach it. But if you got a guy who can consistently make kicks from 50 plus, or 30 to 40 yards in automatic, it just gives you the confidence that once you cross that 50, you got points on the board. And Andy Reid has done a great job of not only finding the best quarterback in the league and the best receivers and the best guys defensively, but he went out and found the kicker that he can really rely on, and that's a weapon. Every team in the league doesn't have a great kicker. I mean, you look around the league, I mean, guys missing extra points. This guy don't miss. So Andy hit it on the spot with this guy, and he'll be kicking for the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time. So, thank God for him. He put him in a position to win, and, they escaped with 1.
Yeah, I mean, also it's hard to do all these things, but really, the Chargers showed us how to beat this team. You got to keep this guy, off his spot. You got to move him. You also got to keep everything in front of you, and you got to take away the screen game. They're great at misdirection run plays. They're great at misdirection screens. And if you can do that, you'll have a chance. But not every team has a Bosa. Not every team has an Ingram. Yeah. So when you really look at this, it's going to be hard to really stop this team moving forward. But I will say this and push the conversation forward to the other team. When you look at Herbert, Mike, to me, them kicking that ball shows why you go back to Tyrod Taylor, because Coach Lynn showed everybody and told everybody, I don't trust this guy in the biggest moments. So Mike, I don't know how you see it, but if you're Coach Lynn, do you go back to Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, I think you go back to the veteran. I think you let Tyrod go out and, let his expertise and professionalism show. The guy got a lot of snaps up under his belt. He's been a starter. He knows what it's like. And this is a good Chargers team that can compete. And if they play well and win games, if they stack some wins, they can show up in the postseason. So I don't think this is an opportunity for them to, go with a rookie, a guy who was unproven, who looked like a rookie in different spots yesterday, but also, in the same breath can, learn, the more reps he get, throughout the course of the season, the more games he play, which will be critical. But, I think that's a tough decision for Anthony Lynn to make right now. But, if I'm the head coach of the Chargers, I think I'm going back with Tyrod at least for the next 3 or 4 games to see what I can get out of him.
Nick,
I'm
you
really
disagree.
surprised. I'm just surprised. I was surprised Anthony Lynn after the game said he was going back to Tyrod. I was surprised when Brandon this morning said he should go back to Tyrod. I'm surprised Vic's agreeing with him. Wild, you mentioned, as a Chiefs fan, what was I rooting for? I was rooting for them to punt in overtime. As a Chiefs fan, I was bummed out when I saw the rookie quarterback was coming in to start the game because it added some variance to the game. And Herbert, while now, don't get me wrong, he made an egregious rookie mistake when the Chargers were in full control, and I get that. They're up 8. He could run for a first down. Instead, he throws across his body, across the field into triple coverage. It was terrible. But he played well, I thought. I thought he made some big throws throughout the game. And if you're a Charger fan this morning, I think Charger fans want to see Herbert out there again. I'm not saying they're going to immediately, but I bet Charger fans this morning want to see Justin Herbert in Week 3, Jenna.
Well, you drafted him
And you
number
only
1
found
for a
out he
reason.
was starting.
Yep.
Yeah, he only found out he was starting a few minutes before the game, and he still went out and he put on that performance again. All right, Mike, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.